Namaste.
Namaste. Obviously, for me, losing Chester in the process of all that was like brutally difficult and hard to go through. And with that, it was also really, really important to me to figure out some way to kind of move forward. Obviously, even in the family analogy, like when you lose a loved one, it feels like your world stops. Time feels like it stops for that period of time, but everything else around you actually keeps going. Life moves forward, and you've got to figure out a way to, or I had to figure out a way to like on-ramp back into that. Like, how do you figure out now how to live differently? Obviously it's a big change and everything through the band. Not only am I fortunate to have a great group of musicians around me, but I've got a great group of people around me in the band, and they're like, they're some of the most important people in my life. I respect them tons. And I think I already knew it going back to Hybrid Theory and, back 25 years ago. I knew the people that I'd surrounded myself with were high quality, smart, emotionally intelligent people. But you add that element of friendship that goes into like 3 decades after that. For our Indian fans, one, a bit of an apology that it has taken us almost 25 to 30 years to get there, but we're coming, and we are also very excited to come to your home turf and enjoy some great evenings of fun times and good music.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rudrani, and welcome to Zoom Speak Easy. My guest is so special. One of the greatest rock bands that exist, and they are coming to Lollapalooza India, presented by Book My Show Live Festival very soon. I'm of course talking about Linkin Park's Dave. Thank you for doing this. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
India has some of the greatest fans of Linkin Park, and they've really waited almost 25 years to have you perform for them and to see you. So I want to understand, how did you guys manage to do this finally? How did you all plan, jam to make this happen? And now that it's finally happening, I'm not complaining. I just want to know how it happened.
I still don't know how it happened, but I'm glad it did. And at this point, yes, we have been lucky enough to have some incredible Indian fans coming and seeing us at all other places around Europe, the US, everywhere. And we've been very aware of how much of a great community of fans we have there in India. And it was just finally time for it to make sense and for us to work out how to get there and actually play some shows in India. And I think for me at this stage, 25 years in, like you said, it's really exciting to get a chance to play some places that we've never played. And specifically, India's been on the radar for us for quite a while to try to figure out how to get there and play some shows. So thank goodness it finally has worked out, and we're going to get to do it.
Yes, absolutely. Since you're coming here, I'm assuming you want to explore a few things, culture-wise, food-wise, maybe places, artists. Please tell me.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm a huge fan of Indian food. That might sound funny to say, but I didn't really get a chance to travel much before like my early 20s, and only at that point was able to start traveling because of the band. And so at that point was first exposed to Indian food actually in London. Obviously we have Indian food in the US, obviously we have Indian food in California, but I hadn't been around it, and especially not around great Indian food until I found, some of those spots that are there. And from that point moving forward, I think for everybody in the band, it's been kind of a cool little special different thing for us. On this trip in particular coming up, we're not going to get a chance to be in India probably as long as would make sense to really get to do and see a lot of the things that there are to do there. But my idea with that is like, I always want to leave a space wanting more, because that encourages us to come back. And so that's the that if that works out to be the case, then I think that would be really, really cool as well.
That sounds great.
But
Gives us
so
hope.
now I'm saying not only are we coming to India, but we've also got to figure out a way to come back to India. So I'm already like, in my brain, I'm doubling down. Like we haven't even been there yet, and we're still already trying to figure out how do we get back.
I love that. I'm going to send you a few recommendations for food. If you get time, you can go through it whenever.
Amazing.
I will. It's been such a fantastic year because y'all have been touring, and what we saw is the kind of a mix of the OG fans with teenagers who are probably listening to you on different platforms, and they're all coming, joining this movement. How do you then balance out a set that can satisfy all age groups and all kinds of fans? Tell me, and especially for Lollapalooza India, which is being, of course, presented by Book My Show Live.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if it's ever something that you can get perfect as far as a set list goes, but it's something that you're always trying to kind of make it a little bit better or a little bit different each time. And there's the balancing act between that for us of keeping ourselves engaged and interested in the show, keeping it current and fresh for ourselves so that we don't fall into just like a rut or repetition, but then also creating a show and an experience in a way that, obviously we're very well aware that at any given time we're playing, there are a lot of people that would be their first time ever seeing us, or it might be in a lot of cases their only time that they ever see us. And so we want to make sure we're delivering a show that for them is, you get to see hopefully a lot of the songs and experience a lot of the things you want to experience at that particular event. But it is like, yeah, I don't think you can ever get it perfect. And on the other side of that, though, is like each show has an opportunity to be its own unique thing. And that's part of the magic of it. And, I think India in particular, of what I've heard from Indian crowds and from what I've seen just in our own experience, you guys have a special warmth and passion that you bring to music and to arts, and that shared experience is what, as a musician, is the real magic. The interplay between us and what we get to do on stage with our music, and then what an audience does with that as well. I mean, that's the special factor for it.
Very, very well answered. Dave, in 2024, I think it was quite the moment in rock history with Linkin Park deciding to come back, do that live stream, come back with Emily and with Colin, and create that magical music again that everybody has loved. And of course, the kind of response. I want to understand how that moment was for all of you, the whole band. And then, of course, the jamming and the planning that it took to reach that point.
Yeah, I think everybody dealt with it a little bit differently in the band. I think for me, my personal, I don't know, the way my brain worked in that moment or in that event was almost just to downplay it. And I just thought of it as like, oh, we're just going to do this kind of little fun live stream, and we're going to go from there, build off whatever happens there and keep moving forward. Now, obviously we hadn't played anything, I think, at that point for maybe 7 years. And there was so much on the line. Like if that had not gone well, whether we had technical difficulties or whether we just tanked some of the songs or whatever, if it didn't go well, it would have been obviously a tough moment for us. It already was very stressful, but it would have been potentially bad. And I don't think I purposely didn't think of any and all of those stakes that were in that. And thank goodness it went really well. But when we came back, we just wanted to share that with our fans, and we wanted to just show them what we've been doing and instead of like talking about it and telling you like, oh, we've got new music, like, oh, we've got a new singer, oh, we've got a new drummer. Instead of just like having that all be talking, we just wanted to just say, here it is, like this is what we've been working on, this is what we are doing, here it is, we hope you like it, we love it, we hope you do too, and just go from there. And yeah, I think it was pretty highly stressful. And in particular, I think for Emily and Colin, it was very stressful.
Of course.
But at this stage, looking back, I think it's gone as well and way better than we ever could have hoped for. And also, thank goodness it worked.
From 1996 Zero to From Zero tour, it almost feels like it was a manifestation that was meant to be, and kind of a full circle for you guys. Do you feel similarly or different?
Yeah, there's so many aspects of it. I've loved music, and I never really even dared to dream that I could have that be like my profession or job. I started playing music when I was 5 or 6 years old and was classically trained and just did it because I loved it. And then at a certain point, one step leads to 2 steps, leads to 1,000 steps down the road, and we're doing the band and we're able to do it on this level. And that already felt like winning the lottery. And then for that to kind of get shut down and go away for a while, and then for us to get a second chance to do all that stuff again, it seems like we've won the lottery twice. It seems not fair in a weird way that to get that fortunate or to be that lucky. So my full circle moment in that regard is just like, I think on this go around, I'm appreciating it so much more. I always felt really fortunate to get to do this and to share music with people as my job. But this time around, I think there's just that much more gratitude that I have for the opportunities and just to be able to do it with, a great group of friends. It's a pretty special thing.
It is. I just want to say that I think it's fair. The kind of talent that you guys have, it'd be unfair to keep you guys away from us, by the way. So I think thank you for taking that chance again and giving us the kind of music. I also want to say that we're talking about celebrating so much of your journey as well, but there were most difficult parts as well. So tell me, Dave, individually, what was the most difficult part of this journey? And as a band, what have you observed are things that you all struggled with or was difficult for?
Yeah, I mean, a band is, in its best and worst forms, is like a version of a family. You've got all the ups and downs of what comes with that. And you end up like living, eating, enjoying, playing, your families get intertwined, everything like that. Obviously for me, losing Chester in the process of all that was like brutally difficult and hard to go through. And with that, it was also really, really important to me to figure out some way to kind of move forward. Obviously, even in the family analogy, like when you lose a loved one, it feels like your world stops. Time feels like it stops for that period of time, but everything else around you actually keeps going. Life moves forward, and you've got to figure out a way to, or I had to figure out a way to like on-ramp back into that. Like, how do you figure out now how to live differently? Obviously it's a big change, and everything from that point moving forward is always going to be different. But I knew in some way or the other, I didn't know what the answer was, but I knew in some way or another, I needed to figure out, like, how do I move forward with Linkin Park after some, an obviously really big traumatic disaster. And so we've had small victories, big victories. We've had small struggles, and we've had huge tragedies in the band. And it's just like, it is that version of family where you either figure out how to navigate it or you don't, right? Like with a band, you either figure out how do you move forward, or you just fold it up, wrap it up and don't be a band anymore. And so I think in looking back now in our last couple of years, a big part of that process and a big part of our kind of victory in being where we are now is just having kind of navigated and figured out our own ways through those difficult waters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we're all very proud of you. It's difficult for sure. Um, Dave, how do you approach that sound, that tone, for from zero in comparison to the One More Light era? So how does that happen?
That's a great question. And it's a tough question. Yeah, I think for us, when it comes to writing, it's a pretty openly creative environment. It's a little bit of, there's a phase early on where it's kind of like anything goes, whatever is getting us interested or excited. We'll end up spending more time towards those demos or towards those sounds. And it obviously, in the course of our career, it's moved around like to a ton of different places. Our collective interests musically have, bounced around from the Hunting Party to Meteora to, not in that order, obviously, but One More Light, and then going into From Zero, it's kind of wherever the wind takes us in a sense creatively in that regard. And so working on this record, I think we were exploring very early on, just me, Mike, and Joe. We were exploring like what are ways that we can write now that get us interested, get us, give us goosebumps in the studio, or just get us excited about sharing music again. And when we started writing and working with Colin and Emily, and then, in that process too, when Brad started writing and working back with us again, it was just really easy to feel like an energy and excitement to what we were doing. And I think that more than anything, more than the sound or more than like how a song or an album is going to present itself to an audience, it was more for me like that feeling of just being so excited, at the end of a Monday, so excited to go back to the studio and keep working on stuff on Tuesday, and then same thing on Wednesday, and then, week after week after week and month after month, just being re-energized and kind of reinvested in that music and in the process. That's more what leads the way, I think, creatively. I think that people commonly believe when it comes to music that you start off with the end goal in mind, and then a great musician figures out how to get there. But I don't know if other people do that. I kind of don't believe that anybody can really do that. I think it's more you're stuck in like you're stuck in a forest, or you're stuck in this creative area where you can go anywhere, and then you kind of just explore and you see what destination you end up at. And then when it's done, people can look at it and say like, oh, you went from here and you found out a path to go to there. But in reality, like, you didn't have a map, or you didn't have a full-on view or strategy of what you're really trying to execute. You were just making yourself available to hopefully find inspiration and hopefully find things that, get you passionate about what you're doing and get you excited. And at the end of that place, you kind of like lift your head up again. You say, okay, crap, like we've got an album, like we're now here, and this is what it is, and so long answer to a short question, but
No, that's okay.
That's like,
It was
that's our
fascinating.
process. Yeah, that's kind of a version of our process. And even having said that, like, our process changes every record we do. So there's always new little twists to how you can go about doing that.
I love it. Please explain all these answers, because it's so much fun to understand the process that you'll go through. Emptiness Machine became like the biggest rock anthem of 2024. And then, of course, multiple Grammy nominations for you guys. It kind of felt like Linkin Park was getting its, Linkin Park's music was becoming like the soundtrack of the moment. And it was happening after 25 years of hybrid theory. So I want to know, how did that feel? Because to see that your passion, like you said, gets rewarded in this way,
Yeah, I think, like I was saying earlier, it's something that I'm definitely grateful for. And I think like a lot of that goes back to, we have a really, really special fan base. And not only have they allowed us to kind of wander, like I was saying, all over the place creatively, and not only have they been with us through so many different sounds and versions of what we were doing, but to release a new record 25 years into a music career and have people care about it, like that's pretty wild. So that's such a cool testament to, you know, our fans that are out there globally, India specifically, but they're not just coming to the shows to hear the old songs. Like, they're not, when you come to a show, and I'm excited for you to see it firsthand in India, it's when we play the Emptiness Machine or we play new music, it's even bizarre to us that people are so excited to hear the new stuff. And Mike makes the joke that the couple times when we've played a song or two less of the new things, then people will be online saying like, why aren't they playing more new stuff? Like, that seems kind of wild, but it happens. And I think that that's something too that we really appreciate and have fun with. You know, it's as an artist, it's always, when you write new stuff, you're kind of like, the cliche is that you're most excited about your new stuff, and the reason being that it is still new to you and like fresh and exciting. It's something that's like just kind of popped out of nowhere and is now in your repertoire of things that you can do. And so anytime you can play new music and have people be excited about it, it like reinvigorates the set. It just like adds new life or a new dimension, a new side to what even the set list can become. Gives you that many more options of what you can do in a live show to change it up. And so having the Emptiness Machine in particular, but so many other songs as well off of From Zero, and getting to play those live has been a ton of fun.
Yeah. You mentioned Mike, so I must ask this question. You, Mike, Joe, and Brad have had such a beautiful friendship, and you have been through all the highs and lows together. I would like you to tell me, what is one non-musical lesson that you have learned from your friendship for the last 2 years, which you wish you had known when you were making Hybrid Theory?
Oh man, I think through the band, not only am I fortunate to have a great group of musicians around me, but I've got a great group of people around me in the band, and they're like, they're some of the most important people in my life. I respect them tons, and I think I already knew it going back to Hybrid Theory, and you know, back 25 years ago. I knew the people that I'd surrounded myself with were high quality, smart, emotionally intelligent people, but you add that element of friendship that goes into like 3 decades after that, and then it just becomes this set of like a family that you choose. Like, you know, the old saying is like, friends are the family that you get to pick. And in this case, the band is like the family that we all got to pick. Sometimes it's got its own issues and problems, and kind of figure out how that goes. But I would have a really difficult time, I think, being a musician or being in a band in it with a set of people, or at least a set of people that had a really strong sense of character, and not only care for what happens in the group, but also just care for what happens like outside of the group and in our own kind of Linkin Park community. Everybody in the band is very passionate about what we're doing, and very passionate about trying to care for that space as much as we can, for our own sakes, selfishly, first and foremost, you know, caring for each other and making it be as fun and enjoyable for ourselves as we can. But then additionally, for like the community of Linkin Park around the world, that's a very cool, special community. So we're just trying to do anything we can to not mess up what they are all already doing so well.
No, absolutely. I have less time, so I want to finish some more quick questions and then maybe come back to a longer one. So a few fun, quick questions. Are you ready, Dave?
I'm ready.
Okay. Okay. Indian artist that you'd love to collaborate with in the future?
Oh no, I always freeze up on this kind of stuff. Okay, Bjork.
Okay.
Okay.
What's okay? A
Just
ritual.
oh, just top of my mind.
Okay, what's the ritual that a band follows that no one knows about? Like a band ritual before going on stage or before the performance, something like that.
Um, a band ritual no one knows about. I think if anyone digs in, they know most of the stuff because it stays pretty consistent. I do this is so awesomely boring, but I currently have a bit of a knee injury, so I do some activation exercises to get my glutes firing.
It's okay.
Maybe that's
As long as it's fine. It's working for you. Okay.
like
What are some essential what are some essential items that usually the band wants in their tour van? Now you'll have to give me some really fun answers for this one.
some really fun. Well, Colin is our resident barista, and he's very, very excellent with what he does with coffee. So we've got a pretty specific coffee routine that we make Colin go through. He's got special beans from Colombia that he grinds. He's got special equipment that we make him carry with him all over the world. And at this point, he's making coffees for not only us but a lot of the crew as well. So he's our on tour barista. We not only do we make him play drums, but we also make him work behind the scenes, keeping us happily caffeinated.
Okay. 3 songs from Linkin Park's amazing music that you would suggest to the new listeners who might join in the Lollapalooza festival this time. That the ones that they should listen to before coming to the concert, to get the feel.
Oh, okay. Before the concert. I was going to say, like, for somebody who's coming to a festival environment or a show like that, who knows maybe, a couple Linkin Park songs, but not much. I was going to initially say to like, go check out the album 1,000 Suns or some different 1,000 Suns or even like Hunting Party. And it's a little bit more of a deeper dive into Linkin Park world. But having said that, we don't play a ton of that live anyway. But that would still be my answer, because you can find the live stuff and figure out those songs if you're going into a deeper dive of Linkin Park. That's easy. If you're going into a deeper dive of Linkin Park, go into some of the deeper albums, and then you can kind of I think you can learn more of the depth or outside textures of what we're doing than what you might just be used to if you only know a handful of songs.
Why not? Absolutely. What's been 3 of your most difficult songs to create for the whole band to create, and please give me your reason for it. It can be quick answers.
Quick answers. That's not my specialty, but there's some songs that. Yeah, I think for me the toughest songs are the ones that really early on have something special about them, but they just take a long time to figure out exactly how to present it. And I think the Emptiness Machine is a great example of that. We had that from the very beginning. We knew that it had a ton of potential, but it was Mike's vocal singing down, and it wasn't until we got Colin playing drums on it and Emily singing on it, well into the process of us kind of writing again and working again on the record, that it kind of came together. So it went through a period of probably 1.5 years of a ton of different forms, but at the end it got there. And thank goodness, because that song's been great.
It has been. Okay, you'll have to name a specific band member for the tag that I'm going to ask. Okay, the first one is the perfectionist.
We're all perfectionists in our own ways.
So all of you.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. All in kind of like little different tweaks.
Okay. Genius.
Mike is like creative genius, no doubt.
Life of the party.
Joe's a ton of fun. Or Emily. Emily is a ton of fun.
Okay.
Most boring, me. What's that?
Emotional core. You're not boring. I don't think so.
I think like for me, I've always loved kind of team building and making sure as much as is possible, like everybody's walking or marching in the same direction. Like everybody knows to some extent what everybody else wants and we're all aligned. So that's probably kind of a little bit of my space.
Of course. I'm going to ask the last two quick questions. As a band, what are you most proud of?
It's a tough question. I think it really quickly, I'm really proud of how we treat each other. I'm really proud of that we're still this far in having a ton of fun. And I'm really proud of the community that has been built around Linkin Park. The community of fans treats each other really, really well. They take care of each other really, really well. And I think from the 99.9% of what I see, Linkin Park community is very, very positive with each other. And I love that. I'm proud of that.
We ended by asking you a message for all your Indian fans who are really excited to watch you perform.
For our Indian fans, one, a bit of an apology that it has taken us almost 25 to 30 years to get there, but we're coming, and we are also very excited to come to your home turf and enjoy some great evenings of fun times and good music.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making lives better with your music.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And I just want to say namaste and thank you for doing this.
Namaste. Thank you.